Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving a little early talk about the upcoming 2019 total solar eclipse, which is going to take place on July 2nd, 2019. Now, um, as many of you may know, there will be a total solar eclipse that will take place on July 2nd, 2019 in the zodiac sign Cancer, of course. And I found out what was interesting, a thing about this. It's going to take place the day after my birthday. Actually, my birthday is going to be July 1st. The solar eclipse takes place on July 2nd. One thing that's interesting about this is that it's going to fall, it's going to make a conjunction, a tight conjunction to my third house cusp in my natal chart at this time, and of course being very close proximity to that and my natal sun. So I think this could be something of very monumental importance for me at this time. I mean, when you're talking about solar eclipses in astrology, they could be often about life-altering events you can be looking at, which is, I mean, they're much more a stronger impact. They're very, the impact can be very prodigious as far as that goes, in contrast to, say, a new moon in astrology. And the thing about this is the fact that it's going to be so close to my third house cusp. It indicates to me that this could be very well connected with a short journey. It might be something where I make a decision that's life altering and decide to move out of Nashville once and for all. And the fact that it's in the zodiac sign Cancer indicates it could be something very nostalgic, going back in time, so to speak, to a place of yesteryear, to a place that I was from originally, or that I had lived previously in that general area. Will not surprise me, at least because I have been doing some Cancerian contemplation over this for some time. So it's something where contemplation is involved too, because of course the zodiac sign Cancer is of course associated with being very contemplative. And I think what's interesting about this is that for me, it's also, I looked at my solar return chart for 2019 to 2020, and interestingly enough, I might have a little cause for a little concern. This solar eclipse is going to make a very tight conjunction to the sixth house cusp of health in it. And given you're talking about the zodiac sign Cancer, this could be some flare-up of a health-related issue with me that could be connected with the chest or stomach area. And remember that the sun also is associated with the heart as well. So I have to be very careful, and I'm hoping I haven't had some precursor to this, because recently, I mean, I've had some sharp pain going on in my chest there. Of course, the chest is associated with the zodiac sign Cancer. Sometimes the chest pain could be heart related, so you can see how this could all be intertwined. And the thing about it is it's also going to make at the least a long inconjunct aspect to the Aquarius ascendant in the solar return chart for me. So it's something to keep an eye on. I mean, for me at this time, and of course I know, pun intended, the sun also, of course many of you may know, does rule the left or the right eye depending on gender. So I think what we have to remember too, I mean, the solar eclipse in astrology, of course, could bring on monumental events, and even if it doesn't make a conjunction to your sun, moon, or ascendant, it still could anyway. But if it's actually hitting, if it's making a conjunction to your sun, moon, or ascendant, the sun, moon, and ascendant, I believe, are the three main proponents in one's natal chart. This could still be something that's even greater importance and could have even more significance on you. Of course, the solar eclipse in astrology can have life-altering implications, and life-altering decision may be involved. If I do this short journey around this time, this could be a thing where there's no rewinding or turning back, for better or for worse. And I think this is going to be very significant to me, again, that it's going to fall at the time. This is going to be very, it's going to fall very close again to my third house cusp. in my natal chart. And those of you, I mean, you look at your solar eclipse, you can also see what house it's hitting in your natal chart, but you could also look at your solar return and see what house it falls in as well, because it could impact that area very strongly for that time, for that coming year for you. So anyway, or at least for that moment, or at least at the very least for that moment in time, might not, as far as you're hitting your solar return chart, it may not affect you that long, but it could still impact you near that time, and it's still, and it can actually have life altering implications. So it's important so that you can look at that as well, see where it hits in your natal chart and your solar return chart as well. It's very interesting, and I think for me this is going to be something again of great significance, and I do need to keep that eye on the health at that time when we hit that July 2nd point of 2019. And another thing I noticed too. This is about another person as well, someone, of course, of renowned celebrity status. Some of you may have heard of prolific NBA superstar Kevin Durant. He plays for the Golden State Warriors in the NBA. And the thing about it is, of course, there's been fervent speculation on him as to where he's going to go after the completion of this NBA season. And there's a lot of speculation he might be going to the New York Knicks. I think he definitely is going to go somewhere else. I don't see him staying with Golden State. When I looked at I don't know the time of birth. His natal chart is not available online, but I did like a solar sunrise chart, and when the solar eclipse takes place, that sun in Cancer is going to fall in his 10th house in that solar sunrise chart, very close to the MC. Of course, the zodiac sign Cancer is associated with the home and the family. 10th house is career, and of course it's connected with status, its notoriety, recognition. This is going to be, I do believe, a move where he moves his home, and of course the career is involved, and I think he will be with a different professional NBA team, this coming season. The free agency NBA free agency actually begins on July 1st, 2019. I would not be surprised at all if he makes a decision very shortly into the NBA free agency period, because again, the solar eclipse is going to be July 2nd. NBA free agency begins on July 1st, so I think it's going to be a very quick decision for him. He might have actually made up his mind already. What's interesting enough with him is that many of you may know, Kevin Durant is a Sun in Libra. Sun in Libra can be notorious for being ambivalent and indecisive, and he also has Mercury retrograde in Libra, so he may have actually been weighing these pros and cons for a protracted period and doing a lot more review on this than even the typical Sun in Libra person. Being a Sun in Libra, of course, his basic wants are connected with peace and harmony, and he wants to be at a place where he's at peace with himself, but at the same time, I do believe he wants to be that dominant piece on that team. I think part of the reason maybe he may leave Golden State is because he might not feel that he's the dominant player on that particular team, having Steph Curry there as well. Thing about this is, and I do see him leaving at the end of that NBA season, and I do believe, based on what I'm seeing in his, as far as the sun, the solar eclipse in Cancer, where it's going to be located in his solar sunrise chart in that 10th house of career, I do see him moving. I think it's imminent. I think he will make that decision very shortly in relationship to the time of the free agency. I don't think there's going to be much hesitation on his part. And of course, with some cardinal energy in his chart, even though Libra is in this mix, of course, can be ambivalent and decisive, but at the same time, when you have some cardinal energy, any strong cardinal energy in your chart could indicate an ability to want to get things started with little procrastination or hesitation. I don't see him really wasting much time once the free agency actually hits. So anyway, people, well, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for a little early talk on the July 2nd, 2019 solar eclipse in Cancer. And two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.